this next video I want to show you is a 180-degree VR format video and how that works on LeiaTube. And it's a video I took on the Vuse XR. I have my own portable 180-degree VR camera. It was like $500 or something, not really well supported anymore, so I don't know if I can recommend it for use or not, but it does technically still work, and the videos come out nice. So I want to show you how it turns out on NubiaPad 3D's display. You can tell right away that this was filmed in some sort of VR or 3D format because the video is kind of split for some reason here in the preview. If I clicked play in 2D, it does actually work. The video plays back in 2D and you can move it around like this, but this is not in 3D yet. All we have to do to view this video format in 3D is to share it to LeiaTube just like any other video. So you just click share, click LeiaTube, it'll convert it or format it for 3D viewing. And this one takes a little bit longer than the others. Maybe it's a little bit more complicated to get this 180-degree video just ready for viewing in glasses free 3D. You just have to be patient and wait a little bit. It does work. Okay, there we go. That took longer than expected, but this, it's just, this looks so beautiful in 3D. Like, it really is the epitome of just like having a window looking into a moment in time. And the moment is in motion. So, in motion and in 3D. It's just so cool to see this. And it's so seamless. Like, you can move the tablet all around like this. Not only does the video move incredibly smoothly, but the 3D effect does not waver. So I can move my head around or move the tablet around and it stays incredibly stable. And the amount of depth, because this was filmed on a 180-degree VR camera, the amount of depth is just incredible. I mean, and it's so accurate to real life. Things that are close to the display pop right out of it and retain their full 3D dimensions. And then things at the back of the room really appear to be back there physically and separated from everything else. So how good this display actually is becomes most clear when you're looking at something like this. What that suggests to me is that as this AI conversion technology gets better, it can get closer and closer to this level of quality. I really believe that just within the next couple years, AI conversion technology is going to look more like this. Maybe you can't move it all around right away, it'll be a still scene or image, but it will look like crystal clear, but in 3D. So you can move it around like this, like a window into this scene just by moving the tablet around. To me, I think this is probably the easiest way to do it. And it's very comfortable because the 3D tracks your head position and it stays stable the whole time. But if, for example, you have the tablet propped up on a table or something, I mean, it allows you to just move around and navigate this 180-degree 3D scene just like this. And it feels incredibly comfortable. I mean, this is one of the most impressive 3D experiences that you can have on the tablet that I've experienced so far. Of course, not just limited to the content that you filmed yourself, like clips from VR games, for example. It's literally like a window into that VR world. For example, of concerts or live stage performances and things like that that I found on YouTube that turn out amazing in 3D when you watch them like this. So I can actually show you really quick an example of a video that looks very dynamic. It's like of a K-pop band or group performing on stage, and it's in motion, but in 180-degree VR. So there's this channel that has a bunch of K-pop videos. Just do the same thing, share it to LeiaTube. And just like my own home video, I can move it around like this and view any angle of the stage, the performers, the lights, and it's all in 3D. It is crystal clear. It just looks like I'm looking through a window onto this stage with these performers. So when they're up close, they're about this far off the tablet, like 2.5, 3 inches. You could set it down and have it propped up and just navigate the video or scene. This type of content is really stunning on this display. It's hard to even believe it without actually seeing it with your own eyes. Personally, I'm not even into K-pop, but it's so cool to see a live performance come to life on this display in 3D, but in this crystal clear way. Another related type of video that's very cool to watch like this is one that's meant for viewing in a VR headset that's created with a mix of animation and scenes, but also real life filming. There's one really, really high quality video like that out there on YouTube that I found so far, and it's Elton John. It's like this VR 180 video that was made to be like a headset VR experience. When you watch it on this, it's almost equally as impressive. You can see that it's animated. It's like this, one of those VR concert experience type of things, but it's available for free on YouTube. The effects are just unbelievable. Even if you're not wearing a VR headset, the level of immersion that can be generate, like the stars are flying at you off the screen and you can see incredible depth, like all of these effects and things like that are unbelievable to view on this tablet. It's just so cool and so amazing that you can get this experience without wearing a VR headset. You don't have anything blocking you off from the rest of the world. You can just watch this type of unbelievable magic unfold right in front of you, but at the same time you can still be in the same space as other people. You don't have to shut yourself off from the rest of the world, and you can enjoy a really unbelievable level of immersion just on this tablet. This is simply one example that I found of something that has a ton of visual effects as like this VR experience, but it could be anything. Any VR content that's ever been created or will be created is by default essentially compatible with this type of display. So I'll post a link to this one too if you're interested. Absolutely gorgeous on this tablet. Even if you don't care about Elton John, check this out because the 3D effects and the way it looks is just, it'll blow you away visually. How about an actual VR game? Like if you wanted to check out a scene that was taken, or a video clip taken from directly within VR, how would it look on this tablet? Well, based on everything that we've looked at so far, you can probably get the sense that it's going to look nice, but just to be sure, let's find a game clip and take a look. So I did find a VR in-game footage video that looks pretty good on this. I mean, this is from a game called Half-Life. Quality isn't perfect. It looks a little bit too rounded to be natural on this display, but it's not horrible. And it is very good in terms of the depth and everything. So I think that, oh, this looks pretty good. You can look around the actual scene, like kind of like you were, as if you were in this VR headset, and see different parts of the world or this game, and it's pretty clear. It's just slightly warped for whatever reason. Maybe the compatibility with actual VR game video clips and things like that hasn't been fully worked out on this tablet yet, but once it gets figured out, I'm sure it's going to look beautiful, and this looks good enough, to be honest. So for games that you've never experienced in VR before, if it's on YouTube, you could get a glimpse of what it might feel like to play the game or view it in VR. I think there's room for improvement for this one. Out of all the things we've looked at so far, this particular format doesn't appear to be coming out quite as clearly or correctly on the display, so I think that maybe that's something that Leia and the way their video conversion model formats it, converts the video into the proper format, works. I think it has to do with that. It's probably something that they can spend a little time on and give an update in the future to make this look even better, but it looks decent right now. It's pretty cool. I see potential, and once it comes out the way it really looks in VR, it's just going to be mind-blowing, just like that Elton John video I showed earlier. So there's just one more type of video that I can think of right now that I want to show you that can be viewed using LangTube. But before I do that, I want to touch upon a couple of the things that I mentioned earlier. Like there's some drawbacks or shortcomings to the way this conversion process works right now on this display. And one of them is that when you view a video in 3D, if it's converted from 2D to 3D, there's a little bit of an outline on each person. So if there's a person like me, if you're watching this video in 3D, there'd be like this little semi-transparent outline around me as like a silhouette. But if you're looking at the video as a whole and you're just enjoying it in 3D, you don't really notice, to be honest. And then that silhouette becomes more prominent if you crank up the depth slider. And I think it has to do with the inpainting that has to be done. So it basically has to, in order to create that depth effect, it has to artificially generate kind of part of what would be behind you or in between like the background and yourself that isn't in the original 2D image. So the AI has to generate that, and it results in this kind of silhouette thing. And I think it's because this conversion process is done on the fly, it's done in real time, so it's really dealing with 2D video and processing it into 3D in a matter of milliseconds, I think, like frame by frame, in real time. So it's incredibly impressive technology, and it's the way it is right now is already good enough to enjoy any of the content that I just showed you in 3D without feeling like too weird. In my opinion, there are some things like little artifacts that happen in the video, but it's not a big deal because there's no other way to view like content in 3D like that and bring it to life like that. I think it adds much more than gets taken away with those little drawbacks. Some of the other things that happen are a little bit of like flickering or motion. If you pay close attention, some scenes, especially scenes that kind of do like a side-scrolling image, if it's a 2D animated film or animation thing and it moves kind of, it sweeps to the side, sometimes you can see there's like this flickering that happens or things kind of wobble a little bit. But when you're watching something as a whole, if you're watching like a TV episode or a show, it's not really something that bothers me at all, because overall it looks beautiful and it just looks like a diorama, or this scene is coming to life in a way that it never could on any other device, especially consumer device that's been available up until now. So what this brings, in contrast to like the trade-off that happens with that really quick 3D conversion, is nothing. I think it's really worth it to enjoy watching a bunch of different types of content in 3D on this. And all those drawbacks that I just mentioned only occur with things that are converted from 2D to 3D. Things that are already formatted for 3D viewing, or side-by-side videos, or those movies that were shown in theaters in 3D, none of those have any of that type of artifact. They do sometimes have a little bit of like crosstalk or ghosting that happens depending on the level of depth or the scene for those 3D movie videos, but that is a different issue. I think it has to do with the way the movie was converted in the first place, maybe not done very properly or completely accurately. The way it's formatted might not be 100% optimized yet, but that stuff is going to get better and better over time. And I think all of these videos just look gorgeous in 3D. So in order to get the most out of each viewing experience for these different types of content, you just need to make sure that you're not like wildly moving the tablet too much or swinging your head around too much. I mean, I don't think anybody would do that, but that can disrupt the head tracking. And then if you have the depth slider up too far on certain videos, it might look a little bit unnatural more than others, just because the outline becomes more pronounced or things get a little bit weird. If you see that happening, sometimes there's already a ton of depth even on the default setting, just at the mid-level, and you can just leave it like that, and that takes care of the problem if you notice it happening in certain videos. The trailer of a 3D movie, like the Avatar 2 trailer that I showed you, sometimes we'll try to play back in like a converted 3D format, and you might notice something's not right. So occasionally you might see something like this where it looks really wrong, like something clearly is off here and it's not being displayed properly. That means the 3D conversion, it doesn't mean that it can't convert this to 3D, it means it's showing you the wrong format. And what you do when this happens is you click on the upper right settings button here, and then it'll give you a list of all the different compatible formats. Just regular 2D video, 3D half-width SBS, full-width SBS, 2D 360, 3D 360, and VR 180. So in general, you should know what type of video you're watching and what it's supposed to be. Like if I just found an anime trailer, like this one right here, it's just a 2D video. So all I would have to do is click on 2D video, and it'll reprocess it to show me the 2D video converted into 3D. And now it looks beautiful, working perfectly fine. If you were trying to watch a 3D trailer, like the trailer to Avatar 2, and it wasn't showing properly, then that probably means that it didn't auto-detect correctly that it is a 3D formatted video. So you'd have to click either 3D half-width SBS or 3D full-width SBS, depending on the format of the video. In most cases, from what I've seen on YouTube, these videos are in the half-width SBS format. So your safest bet, if you see something go wrong with one of those 3D video clips, movie clips, or movie trailers, go with half-width SBS. Most of the time, it'll work. And then for VR 180, sometimes you'll try to watch a VR 180 video, it'll come out all weird. That's because it thinks you're watching it in 2D or something, or it doesn't look native 3D, it looks like it was converted. You can still tell the difference. Then you can double check here, and sometimes it'll be on 2D video rather than VR 180. And then you just have to click on VR 180, and then it'll convert it to the proper format so that the video actually comes out in its true 3D formatting or proportions. So those are just some of the things that you can keep in mind when you're enjoying content using LeaTube. And now I want to show you the final type of content that I've discovered that is also really cool. Arguably one of the most impressive, like technologically, I think, out of everything I've showed you so far, because it's kind of a combination of everything. And you'll see what I mean in a second. Okay, so here I found a elephant encounter video that was taken in a 360 degree format, but it's not 3D. However, if you use LeaTube and you share this 360 degree video, where normally you could watch it in 2D and look all around from any angle because it was filmed in 360 degrees, it'll convert that format of video, the entire view, into 3D. You can actually find some videos on YouTube that are filmed in 360 degrees but in a 3D format. Those are like the rarest and a very precious type of video format, I think, because it's very immersive. You got this entire 360 degree view and it was filmed in native 3D. But those are quite rare, hard to come across. But 360-degree footage in 2D is very common, and there are a lot of different genres and different types of videos that can be found like that. So it's really cool to see how those turn out when you convert what would normally just be a 2D version of that into 3D using the same auto conversion technology. So here's this group of elephants in 3D. This was originally just a 2D video. And the cool thing about this is you can look in any direction and the entire view, this entire thing is all in 3D. It's been converted. So if I look up, to the left, to the right, any direction in this 360-degree range will show me an image that's in 3D. And it looks very realistic. It almost looks just as good as the 360-degree footage that's taken in 3D natively. I mean, everything, like these elephants are popping out of the screen and the tree is clearly way back there in the distance, the landscape. It comes out beautifully, and it's just the same type of thing. You can move it all around and the image will stay stable. You can control it with your thumb to look in different directions. My internet connection is slow, so this video keeps freezing, but that has nothing to do with the tablet. It doesn't have anything to do with the conversion technology. It's just my internet connection here. But this is unbelievable. I mean, this video was filmed in 2D in 360 degrees, but somehow this conversion technology is able to take that entire thing, every single possible view, and convert that, all of that, into 3D in real time. So no matter which angle you choose to view it from, it stays in beautiful 3D and it's very smooth. It's an unbelievable level of immersion that is added to something that's already intended to be a really cool, immersive type of content. So I'm pretty sure that covers essentially everything I wanted to share with you about LeiaTube so far. I mean, you can enjoy all the different types of content we looked at. Regular 2D videos of real footage like this video I'm taking right now. If you went outside and took a video of your hometown or city, old videos from the past, a graduation ceremony, wedding. Like for example, I got puppies a couple years ago and I was only able to take videos of them in 2D on my phone because I didn't have this tablet yet. But now I could upload it to YouTube and throw it into LeiaTube and it would convert those memories into 3D so I could see what they look like again when they're puppies, like as if I'm looking back into that moment. VR content, VR 180, things like actual VR experiences or VR game footage, or even just 180-degree or 360-degree videos that were taken in 3D natively or 2D format but converted into 3D. There's so much that this LeiaTube app and the machine learning, the AI backing it up, powering it can do. It's really just completely mind-blowing to me, and I have found this to be probably the most enjoyable app in this ecosystem so far. I wanted to introduce it to you first and say this alone is a reason to purchase this tablet because it gives you, like from the beginning, you cannot complain about there not being enough 3D content to enjoy. Yes, some of it is not technically native 3D, but it's pretty close and it looks easily good enough to enjoy. My favorite personally is like the 2D animated content, but even real footage of different things, people, and places looks amazing. It looks gorgeous on this display. I would say a lot of times it gets pretty close to real or pretty close to content that was professionally converted into 3D, taking a lot of time and money and that sort of thing. So by purchasing this tablet, you automatically have access to almost infinite content in 3D from the beginning, video entertainment content. It's really an unbelievable piece of technology and it's super entertaining. It's really fun to play around with, but just truly enjoyable. If you have things that you like to watch on YouTube that you focus on and you're actually watching, if you watch it in 3D, it takes that whole experience up another level or more than that, just in terms of the immersion and how cool it feels, how fresh it feels to watch something in 3D versus just in 2D like we always have. Considering how amazing of a job this does converting things into 3D and displaying native 3D footage to the naked eye on this display, I would rate this this app, LeiaTube, a 9 out of 10 right now. Because it's not perfect, there is room to grow for the app in terms of how accurate things are converted into 3D. There are a few instances where I would be deceived into thinking that this was actually filmed in 3D. You know, you can still tell that it's been converted, but it's good enough where it's a really enjoyable experience and it looks really, really cool. It makes it better than watching it in 2D. And then the little artifact things and instabilities and certain incompatibility issues that still exist, there's a few of those things that still need to be worked out, and I think that's going to be taken care of over time. So I would give LeiaTube right now a full 9 out of 10 because I think it's an amazing app, incredible technology that really I would love to show everybody in the world. The great thing about Leia, who created these apps and who created this tablet, is that they do an excellent job of updating their technology and apps over time. I had the original LumePad 1 and I noticed that they updated LeiaTube, and with those updates came a noticeable improvement in the level of 3D conversion, like quality, the image quality and the accuracy improved significantly with each update. So it's really exciting to be able to look forward to support from this company, knowing that they're going to be supporting these apps and bringing updates that make not just LeiaTube, but all their other apps in the ecosystem even better, and then potentially even introducing brand new apps along the way. So really, really cool app, LeiaTube. I highly recommend testing that out once you get your NubiaPad 3D or LumePad 2, and it's one of my personal favorites. I'm going to be making more videos just like this on the different apps in the Leia ecosystem and other apps that come to these devices, and then doing the other types of reviews and things I described in my previous video. So thanks for watching. If you enjoy this type of content, definitely like and subscribe to this video. I'll leave some comments or ask questions if you have any. I can test things out and let you know how certain things work. Just respond to any questions you might have about the tablet. And I'm looking forward to making more videos just like this. I appreciate all of your support and thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.